Yes. Look at that. Always perfect on time. But if only people knew what this was like minutes before the show started. Just a riot. Ah! The power's gone off. My internet's not working. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yep, something like that.
Yeah. Yes, guys, yes, it is Thursday. It is 9. So, of course, that means it's UK Cowboys time. We got the double Scots with us. We got Mr. Paul and the Mr. Lorne returning. How are we, guys?
Not too bad, not too bad. Me and Lauren are literally just about to book our flights to Dallas. So, yep, we're literally on our way to the glory land that is Dallas, Texas for Thanksgiving for the UK Cowboys fans package deal that is happening.
That's right. And we will be dropping some information on that. The sponsor of the show, Cowboys Experience, finalizing the final pieces of the package to give a definitive price for everybody. So that will drop over the weekend, hopefully tomorrow. Speaking with them tomorrow, so more than likely on the weekend. And that's when I will be booking my plane ticket. So should be a lot of fun. We've already pretty much planned our week out of where we're going to eat and drink and even smoke.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully, we'll get as many of you with us. We've already had a lot of people who are joining in. So we'll get the information to those people. And it may inspire some others who may want to join us. But yes, guys, it is, of course, now we're into the deep lull of the season. This is where things really start to struggle for information and news. But we've got some already because last week, me and Lorne, we went live before the schedule release was out. So we're kind of doing some predictions on it. Now we know. So we'll dive into that. Get your guys' takes. Everybody at home as well. So make sure you give us your thoughts and feelings, questions, quotes, whatever they are as we're talking. We'll also talk about rookie mini camp as well as the international series, because obviously we now know what's going on there. Yeah, we've got to talk about it though. NFL UK will get upset if we don't. They'll ban me again. I'll have a second banning for the year, and it's all back right again.
What do you like, mate? What do you like?
That's all right. They say like, grades for the draft. Okay, I'll send you them. Don't like them, so then they block me. Oh, all right then. Don't ask me then. But it's okay. Unblocked. So it's okay. Okay. But yes, all right then, guys. So the schedule has come out. The way I've looked at the schedule, and we do this as we do when it's every game. Initial thoughts and feelings. Then we'll get a little bit deeper. My initial thoughts and feelings on it is it's a very nice start to the schedule. Very, very nice. Even when you look at like people are worried about the Jets and it's Aaron Rodgers coming back. Like we get them right at the start of the season. Really early at the start of the season, which means he's still trying to learn, find his feet with the schedule. So good time to have it. Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals, have them quite early. That's also a good thing, because obviously he's probably not going to be playing. San Francisco 49ers, same situation. What's going on there with quarterback? But then the back end, December, I mean, that part of the schedule is killer. But what's your thoughts and feelings? Go on, Lorne. I know you're going to kick. And hold on, I'm just going to shut the door.
Yeah, I think much as you say, I mean, the Jets coming in week 2, I mean, there'll be, the timing won't be down for Aaron Rodgers and his receivers, even though it is half the Green Bay Packers roster that he's brought across. Jets seem to be the diet Green Bay Packers. So you got that, as you say. Kyler Murray's not available for week 3 potentially. You're probably talking that it's going to be Sam Darnold still for San Francisco, because I think Purdy is supposed to be ready for the start of training camp. But I mean, he didn't go the full Tommy John surgery. He's gone for a secondary option that is a short-term fix. But again, after the Thanksgiving Day game, you're basically on a run-in with teams that were all in the playoffs or vying for the playoffs last year. I mean, Seattle, Detroit, Detroit are hands down at the moment. They're the bookies' favorite to be the NFC North victors this year. That trip away to Buffalo, cold, again, to tie it into the international games, we kind of hoped it would be London in some respects, but no, we are going back up and we're going in the snow. And then the next week, if you haven't, once you've got back from that, you're then going out to the heat of Miami as well. So, there'll be a lot of guys that within those 2 weeks there'll be a sickness bug or something that's going around the.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul? What's your initial thoughts and feelings when you looked at the schedule?
I'm actually pretty happy with it. Like, especially like as you kind of mentioned, December's the killer one.
Yeah.
But the way how things have kind of like spread out across the board, I'm actually particularly happy. Like, I'm pretty happy the fact that who our opponent is for Thanksgiving. So,
very important.
Yeah, I mean, cheaper tickets for us, because if it was the Jets, the ticket prices would have been skyrocketing. If it was someone else, if it was like the Eagles, prices would be ridiculous. But because it's just Washington, it kind of helps us in a way. But other than that, the stronger teams, I wouldn't say stronger teams, but like you mentioned, the Jets there. So early on the season, like you mentioned, Rodgers finding his feet, new system, new coaches, etc., etc. I mean, how is he going to turn that around so quickly? I think he's going to be there for the taking.
Yeah, I mean, we're complaining about the December side of it all, because what we're hoping is that the final game, the Washington game, which is the Week 18 game, is a nothing game. That's what we're hoping for. That by this point, the Cowboys are on double-digit wins. They've done enough to solidify a playoff place. Which is good because, when you think like what FedEx Field, I mean, generally we complain about FedEx Field as it is, but imagine like after 17, it won't be 17 games, obviously, but after 17 weeks, and 8 games at home, that field, especially in that month of the year in Washington, D.C., that it gets choppy. So you're worrying about injuries at that point, players slipping, tripping, getting churned up in the mud. So you're hoping that isn't the case. Like you say, the side I was looking at is like you said, Lorne. You've got Detroit and Buffalo as well as the Eagles late in the year. So that's cold weather. But everything else beyond that, it's quite good because all the other teams you're playing, like we've got the bye week, right? The bye week, then we've got the LA Rams, which is good, and then we've got the Eagles, which is good. So we're coming off a bye and hitting 2 teams that you really need to try and get a win from. So that's a good place to start off from. But I was looking at this. Tell me if you agree or disagree, right? Knowing what we know about the quarterback situation for all of the first 5 teams. So we're looking at the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Patriots, which are going through God knows what with their quarterback situation. Bill Belichick doesn't seem to be able to make up his mind there. And then you got the 49ers, where there's a situation going on there with it all. I'm looking at it, the roster and rosters that we're up against and how this stacks up. I feel quite strongly at this stage the Cowboys are quite easily 5-0 at week 5.
I think it's definitely there for the taking. I mean, as you say, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, the chemistry won't be down. You've got question marks about quarterbacks for the Cardinals and 49ers. Patriots were up in the air. Mac Jones has sort of slid back last season. So and Trevor Lawrence, I mean, the Jaguars, we were a tipped pass away last year, from winning that game as well. So, in fact, the defense imploded as well in that second half to allow them to come back into the game. But obviously we're looking at a new look defense this year for the Cowboys. So
Yeah. I mean, like when I've gone through it, the bye week is a good place with the teams we got that we're up against. Then Panthers, Washington, Seattle. Seattle's going to be quite an interesting game. That game for me is kind of like you always get those games where it's kind of like sneaky, where you look at it now at this stage of the season and you go, oh yeah, we'll beat Seattle. It's like, well, hold on now. Like what they've done in the off season, they could be one of those sneaky teams where and you could be at that stage. You're trying to vie for a playoff spot, and you're up against this Seattle Seahawks team that's playing above expectation, and you're kind of like, this is the team now you need to go and beat. And I think that's quite a sneaky sort of part of the schedule they've got coming out. You know what you guys think? That was the one I looked at straight and I was like, that late in the season, and it's starting to get on a roll.
Yeah. I think the good thing as well, I mean, you talk about the positioning of the bye week. You've got the bye week after week 7. You've then got a bye week after that Seattle game as well, or a mini bye. You've got the 10 days off.
Yeah, of course.
It's obviously it's you're still playing 3 games in less than 2 weeks, something like 12 days
like 10
or so.
days, yeah.
But you then have those 10 days off to build up for your run-in of the Buffalo, the Miami, the Philadelphia, from that point of view.
Yeah.
So I like the positionings of that, if nothing else. And I mean, thankfully, we haven't got the sorry, Paul, I've just seen your private chat.
Yeah, I just put the wrong freaking flight.
Oh, well, you'll get there before us.
You'll be able to get that back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But here's one, though, right, Lorne? Tell me what you think, right? Eagles, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, right? There's a tough stretch in December. But I'm thinking the Cowboys get a good early start, right? And this is how I'm picturing the season in my mind at this stage, okay? Middle of the schedule before December. So after the bye until the Seattle game. This is the meat and potatoes where we're going to find out how deep the roster is, because you're going to get injuries. So, that's expected. Yep. So you're going to find out how deep the roster is. And then I think kind of like last season, the team recuperates, gets kind of like an inhale and exhale into December. But that's when you're going to face the hardest teams. And this is what I think. The Cowboys are going to be trying to get into the playoffs. They hit this hard stage of the schedule towards the end. But, like that steel, sharp and steel moment where if you want your team to be playing its best football and peaking at the right time, why not try and get into that stage towards the end of your schedule? So once you get into the playoffs, you're peaking. Your players are getting the best. Go on.
I'd agree with that. That if you're aiming to be playing your best ball in December, and you can get through these games with a 2-2 record, a 3-1 record, or something there, then you should be looking. And again, if you make it through healthy as well, you should be looking at being able to progress further come January in the playoffs. Looking at who we've got this year, we have something like 9 teams that were there or thereabouts for the playoffs. The division was no cakewalk last year. If it wasn't for the Commanders, all of the NFC East could have been going to the playoffs last year. It's going to be tough again this year, and you're like. Again, I'm looking at Paul and he's
yeah. It's beautiful, mate. It's just beautiful.
But
it's only a couple of hours difference. Sorry, Lauren. Sorry.
right. No, you're right.
Are you gonna try and change it, or are you sticking with that now, Paul?
I'm gonna try and change it if I can.
Oh, okay. You can, because you got 24 hours.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and do that right now while we're on call.
Oh God. Yeah, that. So you tried booking a flight while we were on the show, and it went wrong, and now you're going to try and cancel it while you're on the show.
No.
At this rate, you're going to end up in Dubai, mate.
Listen, as long as I'm in as long as I'm on that same flight as you guys, that's what matters.
That's the main thing, yeah. But yes, beautiful. But yes, guys, we will get, as I say, just to try and segue, we will get the information on the entire package, the ins and outs. Because, like we say, when we released the package last year, that was going off last year's prices, which we did put in there. There is been a deal being made so that price, because the hotel prices, as expected, are going to go up. They have gone up. Game day tickets fluctuate, but there's some good news that we are striking a deal so that price going up isn't really going to go up. What we said last year should be pretty much what it is.
Yep.
Which is very important. It's all about money. But yes, so I think the schedule it works in the favor. I think quite nicely. It is a brutal schedule, mind. It's brutal. That like it starts off easy, then the next stage kind of goes up again, and then sort of just stays at that level in the middle, and then all of a sudden it just goes back up again towards the end. But me and you, Lorne, we're in the same frame of mind, really, where it's good in a sense because they're going to get on a roll, they're going to get those wins. Then towards the end, we're gonna really truly sharpen that roster and those players ready for the playoffs. Almost kind of like playoff preparation towards the end there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is looking at it on paper based on how the teams were last year. There will be some teams that progress, some that regress.
Yeah,
you've got a lot of question marks. Things like Arizona, they've got new coaching staff in. Obviously, coaching staff has an idea about us because obviously they were with the Dirty Birds last year.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is 4-0 in AT&T Stadium. There's lots of question marks there. So, but I mean, equally, injuries can play a part for their team as well as it can for us as well. So, you won't actually see it until you actually get into the games and actually see how you're actually playing. So
yeah. So we'll get Paul in on the fold on this next piece before he ends up booking flights to God knows where he's going to end up.
Virgin Galaxy.
Yeah. At this rate, you'll end up like on a military plane going to some war zone. But the international series, that was also released, the news. Interesting, the Jaguars played twice in London. But I know you always like to keep your ear to the ground on the whole international series. Let's talk about the London games first, then we'll move to Germany. What are you making of the London schedule then?
I'm not surprised, to be honest, with the games. I had a gut feeling that Jacksonville were going to do a double dip at one point.
Yeah.
And they did. They really are pushing the whole we are the UK team narrative, so to speak. So even though technically one of the games is an away game, but it's still going to, but they'll still treat it as a home game. So yeah, I mean, I said this from the get-go that Dallas was not going to play Buffalo. I said it from the very start, and by God was I right, because when you really do look into the perspective of things, Dallas was not willing to go to Buffalo, well, go to the UK against Buffalo, which is a primetime spot. Even if it doesn't matter if it was September, October, November, that would not matter. They wouldn't have done it. It's too big of a game to be on national television, not to be in national television, sorry. But in terms of the other games, though, Atlanta, Jacksonville, that's actually quite a cool, tasty wee matchup, actually. I quite like that game, actually. And God, what was the other one?
What, the international series games?
Yeah.
Ravens, Titans.
Ravens, Titans, yeah.
That's a good game. So, if anything, people are going to get to see Lamar Jackson. That's a good thing for the UK fans. So, and obviously the other one's Buffalo and Jacksonville. So
yes, yeah. So they may get a bit of Josh Allen action as well. So
yeah, so they've got a good home team and they've got a good away team coming over this year. But obviously for us, we're a little bit disappointed, but we just knew it was not going to happen. But the rumor mills were just saying, "Oh yeah, it's Dallas, whatever," and I was like, "No, it's not." I will say this though: if it's going to be next year or 2026, Dallas are going to host Mexico. That is guaranteed. That for the NFC International Series. So how it tends to work out again, every year it's NFC teams are hosting, then the following year AFC, then they keep swapping it about. So every even year like 2022, 24, 26, 28, NFC are hosting. 23, 25, 27, 29 is AFC hosting teams. So with that being said, with the new Mexico Stadium, well, obviously it's still kind of getting finished off and rebuilt. Once that's done, then NFL are going back to Mexico. And what way to kind of do that is get one of the biggest teams, widely supported teams in Mexico, which is the Dallas Cowboys, to host that game. It makes logical sense. And not just that, Dallas has the affiliation with the NFL International Marketing Agreement, which their brand is Mexico. So it's all connecting the dots.
Yeah, because I think they would have played this year in Mexico personally, because of the odd and even home games. So I think they would have done it this if
it wouldn't be this year. It wouldn't be.
No. But I mean, because so if they could have, if the stadium
still wouldn't be, it will be an AFC team. Because that's the rule of that's the rule of the NFL International Agreement. The only team that has the get out clause is Jacksonville because they have rights to the UK with Wembley
and they
Stadium.
come over so often.
So that's the only team that has that level of control. Whereas any other team, they must host a game once every 8 years. That is the rule. And that was a news article. It was actually done by Neil Reynolds on, I think that was like back in early 2022. He released the article, and Peter King did another article re-enhancing that as well. So you're never going to have the home team being and especially when you look at the schedule, that extra 17th game is based on your home and aways. So that extra home game, like that extra 17th game is your home game. That's going to be your designated game towards the NFL International Series, as if you're selected.
But then that article had said that it was always going to be AFC versus NFC, and then last year, they turned around and everything was interconference.
This year we've got AFC, AFC.
Yeah. So how that now works now? It's like the first choice is AFC versus NFC. That is the first choice, but teams can volunteer. That is the big game. So Baltimore have actually volunteered to come over this year, as have like the Denver Broncos last year, which was if it wasn't the Denver Broncos, it would have been us. It would have been us last year.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that will actually makes no sense, because you're right, Lauren. Like it should have been AFC versus NFC teams, but the way how the things have kind of like unfolded as things go along, it's just only a narrow of the contract work within the agreement. So the first choice is NFL will designate it, but the teams can either decline it, and other teams can actually take up that offer. and Baltimore this year have took up that offer, and they're playing Tennessee.
Yes.
Yep.
So there we have it. But we're talking Mexico and the UK, London games. Can't forget our German compadres, who are very excited as well, getting 2 games over there. One in Berlin and the
No,
other one.
they're both in Frankfurt this year.
Oh, they both are they? They
Yep,
didn't
both
decide
in
to switch
Frankfurt.
them.
Yep.
All right.
Yep,
And
they've
it's
changed.
interesting that the stadium that they're playing it in has got a maximum capacity of 40,000. So you know it's the prices for that are obviously going to skyrocket when the demand hits as well. That I think where Munich last year they had something like 70,000 or whatever. This year you're already automatically taking 30,000 away from that. And again, you could argue again on paper, it looks like the marquee matchups have gone to Germany this year.
Yeah, because they're both interesting matchups. Let's talk about the first one, Long. Give me your take on it. So Miami Dolphins versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That's quite a line. It's a good lineup. I know people will complain about where the Miami Dolphins are, but when you think about the sort of players that are on those rosters, I mean, that's how to start.
Yeah, and I mean, you've obviously, this is taking it away that you would have had Tyreek Hill going back home to Kansas City if it had been played in the States. As it happens, it's now been done in Germany, but that's still a matchup there. You've got 2 of the best or 2 of the most entertaining quarterbacks in the league. In that you've got Tua and you've got Mahomes. And both offenses are built on speed. Put up a lot of points as well. So this could be a very high scoring game. So,
I mean, that's all dependent, mind you, if Tua gets off his Xbox and gets on the plane.
Tua's not bad with that. It's whether he can stay upright without actually ending up with a concussion for him. Kyler Murray's the one that.
Yes, Kyler. Sorry. Yeah, I always get those 2 muddled up. I've been doing that loads lately, muddling 2 players up. But go on, Paul. What do you think of the first? I mean, Germany are going to be ecstatic about this one. The Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs. What are you thinking?
Massive game for Germany. And again, this kind of goes back to the NFL international agreement. Kansas City designated country. One of those countries they're designated to is Germany, and as is the New England Patriots. So it's not surprised who the home teams are, but I was quite surprised because last minute it was supposed to be the Chicago Bears. Then obviously they opted out. Then Miami Dolphins have now stepped up. They wanted to kind of come back. They wanted to see what Germany's like. So, but I think that's going to be an absolutely fantastic game. Germany have got themselves a great couple of good games this year.
I mean, like, I don't want to disparage anything, but remember, like, what it was like when we had just the one game at Wembley in London, and the lineups were always really good. Cowboys, Jags. Immediately. I know we've been home, but they were good teams coming over with good rosters. They really wanted to let the football shine, if you like, And I think that's what they're trying to do in Germany, where it's like, you get in, because we'll get to the second game. They get this one, and it's kind of just like, here you go. You get in the Super Bowl winning team coming over and an up-and-coming AFC team as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you look at the Miami Dolphins right now, they've got Tyreek Hill in the road. Who's the head coach from Miami? The one that's Mr. Cool and Slick.
Josh. It's McDaniel, but
McDaniel says so. You've got an up-and-coming coach with a team that were actually not like, there was some good moments they produced last season. Obviously, that just need a couple of bits of pieces. They could be right up there, contention up there with the Buffalo Bills in their division. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
that's a good one. I like that one, Lebowski.
It is a good. It's a good way to start the whole thing off for them, because then the second game, obviously, then is the Colts and Patriots. So, like you say, Patriots are part of Germany in the international agreement, but it's again, you think I know the Patriots aren't where they were, a couple of years ago, but they're still, they're taking Super Bowl, the most Super Bowl rings for a team. They're taking that over there. Bill Belichick's going to be there, one of the greatest head coaches in American football. He's going to go in, think about what the Colts are still trying to do, drafting really well, thanks to the GM who's really knocking drafts out of the park. But you just think like the whole thing of where it's going. I like it. I like what they're doing for Germany. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely, the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand as well, Germany do have a massive US military audience over there. So for them to, which more further away across the United States, they are getting more treats because it's a home away from home.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, I know it's going to sound really bad to say that. We are slightly getting the straps a little bit, but but the thing is, though, we are getting the Bills, and we are getting the Baltimore Ravens this year. You get like the Say Flowers, Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham coming over to London this year. So, I mean, in hindsight, when you kind of break it down, it's like you can't really complain. And maybe I think it's just because everyone's sick of seeing Jacksonville every year, but unfortunately, get used to it, because that's what's going to happen every year. Jacksonville's always going to be a home team regardless, or it's going to be, or in this case, it might be 2 games.
Yeah, the fact that Shad Khan's got, fingers in Fulham at the moment as well, that shows that he's quite interested in doing business across here. He was obviously, he'd put in a bid for the national stadium as well at Wembley.
That's right. Yeah.
So he's certainly interested in expanding things across here. And, obviously Jacksonville are struggling to fill their stadium all the time, where across here they're almost guaranteed full attendance, even though they're not necessarily cheering on the Jaguars. So
here's a question for you: what do you obviously, I don't see Jacksonville becoming a full-time London team. The logistics don't make sense. It won't happen, I don't think. But the question is, do you think Jacksonville might relocate to somewhere else in the US?
The thing is if they were to relocate, say within Florida, that doesn't make sense, because there's nowhere.
It would have to be a different state. It would have to be a different state.
Yeah,
it would. And I wonder if that would then even work, because where are they going?
Any state that are doing business would want them to drop the London games probably as well, because they would want as many games as well. So
possibly.
I just think, a lot of people talk about the flight time, and the flight time is do you like New York to San Francisco? That flight is about the same as New York to the UK. So I don't buy that as an excuse. What I do buy, though, is that, do you want to be making that length of a trip? Say you've got 2 road games or 3 road games in a row. How does that work out now? If you're based in London, are you just going to stay out there and not bother coming back? Because then, if that's the case, what's the point in you being in a team in the UK? Also, if you think about it, if the Jags move to the UK, the only people really it's a bonus for are fans who are Jags in the UK. Because everybody else, like us, are we just going to drop being a Cowboys fan all of a sudden? Just become? It's just not going to happen, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. I think that seems to be what the NFL are. Again, not to sound I'm being distasteful towards the NFL UK, but it kind of feels though they're trying to push that narrative to say, "Oh, you got to support the Jags." Is what it kind of feels like to me. I was like, but no, why would I want to support a team I literally have no interest in? Like, it makes no sense. I've always been a Cowboys fan. I'm not going to shift allegiances like that. Not a
It's,
chance.
it's not just us though. You know, you think there's 30 other teams where
That's
there's
right.
those
Yeah.
fans, and they're not going to budge. They've got
No.
their feet. Like, the only good thing about it would be, like, say those home games. You could go and get a ticket, go to London game, and you could go and watch an NFL game. You know, you're going to get that 8 times a year. You're going to get 8 games, 9 games sometimes, where you get to go and basically go and watch an NFL game. That would be quite cool. But, you know, you think, like, the majority of those games are going to be AFC South games. So, like, you're going to, you know, you're going to get them every year. And so, like, kind of like a lot of it is that, like, what's your interest? Like, it's good to go and watch a game, but what's your interest in that game? Because there's going to be none. Like, especially for a Cowboys fan that's in the NFC East. Like, who wins or loses in those AFC games? Like, those AFC divisional games in the AFC South makes no difference to Dallas.
No, not at all, mate.
Man. And so, go on.
I was just going to say, I'm just looking at some of the comments. DJ Dog kind of agrees that the NFL is short-sighted with the Jacksonville narrative completely. Yeah, because it seems to be the whole, especially with the branding here in the UK, they're just like, there's the Jaguars Academy within the NFL Academy here in the UK. It's all branded Jacksonville. So again, it's, if you're trying to be NFL, you should want to kind of like make it just NFL rather than brand it with Jacksonville. Like,
Yeah, what do they call themselves? The club, the Union Jags,
or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Union Jags.
I mean, a good fan club and stuff like that. Good fan club.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not. I'm just trying to remember all the other teams that are actually part of the NFL UK marketing. So there's the Jets, there's the Dolphins, there's the Jags. There's those 3 teams that are definitely on that. I can't remember. There is 2 more, but I can't remember who. Which is controlled by the fan groups are controlled by the NFL UK.
Hold on.
You know what I'm talking about.
Jets, Jags, Vikings.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
And there's one more, and I forget what.
There's one more NFC team, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, but yeah, so, and also Labarsi's saying a lot of people in San Antonio switched to the Texans when they started, but it means they weren't true fans. Oof, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I find is that, you know, particularly for me, I can support teams in other leagues, but, you know, I will never be anything but a Cowboys fan.
Exactly.
You know, so I can look at other cities if I needed to in the XFL, the USFL or something like that. But
and saying that, Lauren, if Jacksonville are playing Philadelphia, then I'm a Jags fan.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the only way you'll get me to say that, if they're playing one of our rivals. Really,
yeah.
One that's going to help benefit us as Dallas Cowboys fans. So that's the only time I will ever say that. Doesn't matter if it's San Francisco or whoever in that. If they're playing one of our rivals and it's a deal breaker of a game that will impact our chances getting into the playoffs, by all means, I'm supporting anyone but them.
Yep.
You know.
So you support 2 teams. It's Dallas and anybody but Philly.
Yeah, or the Giants, or the
Reds.
I was about to see the other one, the Commanders.
Yeah, it kind of like, this sounds similar, like when the Six Nations are on, and it's like you support your team and whoever's playing England.
Yeah, Sorry, Jamie, but we have a thing called ABE, anyone but England.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
mean,
sorry.
we've got a song about it.
So we do have a question. So DJ Dot is asking the question here. So what are you saying? Is Vikings, Jags, Dolphins are getting priority pushed by the NFL in UK? In a way, in terms of the fan groups, they are. Their fan groups, all their fan marketing and all their fan engagement is actually controlled by the NFL. So all the other teams are basically run independently, like us. We're completely independent. And also, I don't think some of the teams. I think there's something they need to. I don't know what it is, but basically, what it really does come boil down to is like they organize certain fan rallies and stuff like that, but that's about it, and they do the marketing. But it's basically just another NFL social media page essentially, but there's no actual true fan engagement. There's no true fan interaction. There's nothing like that, like what we have here or have with like
the Giants
or the Dirty Birds.
Yeah,
like, for example, the Dirty Birds have like, despite how dodgy their fan base can be, but they have a good fan group in terms of in their own community. They have a good but whereas Jacksonville, Vikings, Jags, they seem to be a little bit testing the waters with the market here in the UK in particular. So that's the only difference I can really see on that, DG Dog.
Partially as well, it's those teams are all obviously the ones that have been allocated the United Kingdom as well. So you've got it's the Bears, the 49ers, the Jags, the Vikings, the Dolphins, and there's one other as well. Jets as well. Yeah. So they're the ones that are obviously the NFL UK has a focus in on as well. So they're keen to have some sort of input into what the fan groups are saying for those teams.
Yeah, and welcome to a crash course in NFL UK politics.
Yeah,
it's very political. Yeah,
it can do when they're trying to organize stuff, or when you organize stuff and get it done, and then they turn up and get all upset with you.
Yeah, and try and claim credit for something that they'd even touch their finger on.
That's right.
That's why we stay. That's why we stay away from them.
Or try to.
Try to. Try to.
Yeah,
that's a good way of pointing it there, Mike.
Yeah. Sometimes it's it has to cross paths, and it does. But we deal with it as it comes.
But just to highlight Ultra Cowboys comment, like our teams, and when you compare it to the Jets and whoever, there's a big difference in terms of magnitude of the fan base. So there's no need for us to kind of be sectionized by the NFL UK to create its own marketing for the fan base. There's no need for it. There's, I mean, like I said, especially for us, right? We've got the Big D in Deutschland, the Dallas Cowboys fans in Germany. You've got the España Cowboys from Spain. You've got the guys from Canada, the Cowboys Can fan, and other Cowboys fan groups across in the northern part of America. You've also got all the guys in Mexico with their independent fan groups as well.
They're good guys too.
Yeah, great guys. So it just goes back to your point at Ultra Cowboy. It's like for a team like us, and you could even say San Francisco as well. There's no need for those teams to sell the rights for the NFL to do the marketing for them. There's no need because the fans will do it themselves, and we probably end up doing a better job than what they would ever do anyway. Because all they're doing is reposting stuff from the official channel anyway. So what gives?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, put it this way: the UK Jets, so they have their thing taken off them. I remember because we were in, we're in the big group chat with all the NFL groups, and ironically, UK Vikings and Jags and all of them are in there. They never talk though, but
that kind of goes back to my point.
Yeah,
there's not much engagement.
No, there's none, zero. But I know the Jets, so they had the UK Jets, and it was going back maybe about 3 years ago, maybe, and they had it taken off them. They went away, and then they just set up their own group again, and off they go, and that's what they're doing now.
Fair play to them.
Yeah,
Yep.
and why not? And they're enjoying it, and they get more interaction and what have you, and I even think we're in a fantasy league with them in the NFL UK Fantasy League.
Oh well.
Yeah. Which,
But
the
anyway,
which, by the way, the UK Cowboys won last year.
Anyway, folks, for our American viewers, that's just a little bit insight what goes on behind the scenes here in the UK when it comes to the NFL. So that's just to give you what it's like being a Cowboys fan here in the UK, and when you're having to deal with that crap. So
trying to work around it all, yeah. They have. Yeah. I will say that they have got better. They've got better over time. NFL UK. They are more easier to deal with.
Yeah. And again, just to kind of bring up, so Digital brings up another question. Interesting to know that the NFL does business in the UK. They do a lot of business. They've got NFL academies in here, try and get like players outside of the US to see if there's any potential out of certain players or potential athletes that can actually make the transition. Like take Effie Obada, for example, former Dallas Cowboy, now plays for Washington, played for Carolina as well. He only played 2 years of semi-professional football, never played anything before that, and played for the London Warriors, which is just a semi-professional league up and across the UK for the British American Football Association. And yeah, I got my arse kicked by Effie Obada in that game. I played against him. Yeah, so... Yep. But so guys like that, there's going to be diamonds in the roughs, no matter where you are in the world, that can actually make the transition. Like you can even take like the Nigerian Nightmare who played for Kansas City, like never really played football, then just came on one day and just played college football, and he got drafted and became an all-time great for Kansas City.
Yeah, and you look, obviously we've got across here, we've got Jason Bell and Osi Iora. He's doing exactly the same in Nigeria as well, and that's why there's something like 8 people on the international player pathway this year that are from Nigeria as well. They're all guys that Osi has scouted himself, and he's busy setting up an actual coaching academy there, much like they have in the UK. In the UK, you've got guys who have actually been given Division 1 scholarships to NCAA teams. You've got, including Neil Reynolds' son, who I think ended up going to Canada, but I don't know if he's still out there, actually. I think he maybe moved on to somewhere else.
Yeah, I was meant to speak to Neil, actually, about something. So, yeah, I will ask then, because he plays quarterback, his son.
Yeah,
that's right. And just trying to think as well, like even in Germany right now, they're making some big moves. And I think the biggest move, what really kickstarted Germany, was obviously Moritz Boringer, the wide receiver that got drafted from the German Football League.
Yep.
I think he was like a 5th or 6th rounder at the time. The wide receiver, he was in the practice squad mostly.
Yeah,
he developed a little bit, but he never really honestly got the opportunity. But that really did kickstart things for Germany that way. And
they also had an offensive lineman on the Patriots who was
Vollmer.
Vollmer.
Yeah, that's right. And I think there was a guy from Austria that played. He was in the draft this year. I'm pretty sure an offensive lineman from Austria that got drafted. I'm pretty sure. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about, and I can't remember his name now.
I know who you're on about.
But I think we've kind of dragged this a little bit too much, do you think?
Yeah. We were only supposed to talk about the international games.
Yeah, so, yeah. But just to kind of bring it round again, like Labarsky just asked us a great question. What do you think has been the best schedule release video?
Oh, I've got mine. It's the Titans.
Titans was good. Like I like it, but I can't complain with ours. It's Yellowstone, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Like I just love the fact that Leighton Vander Esch just showed up and the director's like, "Yep, he's in." Didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And Michael, what the hell was Michael Irvin wearing? Like that, he looked like Woody out of Toy Story more than the natural cowboy.
Yeah, I like the quote, or obviously if you listen to the Girls Talking Boys podcast on Blogging the Boys, that, Kelsey's obviously got the tie-in with Lucchese boots at the moment. And, she'd been contacted by the Cowboys to organise the boots for all the guys. And then the next thing she hears, Leighton Van Der Esch is wanting to keep all of his stuff. And, of course he does. And then his wife's wanting stuff as well. So, it's generated a bit of business for her as well. So, but I mean, I think the Titans one was good, especially when everybody ended up buying, all the teams bought into it, and all the Twitter handles were changed, and
that's right.
We had the logo and ours changed to the horseshoe, the Colts and all that. The other one, it was a bit long, but I actually thought the Jags one was good.
It's okay.
The whole script writing thing for the NFL, and
taking the mess,
obviously good to see Annie Agar in the Bears one. That's one for Graham Wilson, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Guys, I'm always one that's for comedy. I like ones that just take the mix, so that's why I'm all about the Titans.
I will say though, if anyone who doesn't know who Annie Agar is, go and check her out on Instagram. She's funny as hell, that's for sure. But she's absolutely beautiful woman.
I think Brian's been mentioning her to try and get her on the podcast a couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah, she was.
If we could
trying to get it for the draft show, was something we were trying to do.
No, well, she was at the draft, remember? So
that's why we were trying to get her on for the draft show.
No, she was actually at the draft.
Yeah, and we were going to try and get 5-10 minutes with her or something like that.
That would have pulled some strings. That one, I'll tell you that.
We're still waiting on Will McClay. But there we go. Still waiting for his reply. But just to finish off though, guys, rookie mini camp kicked off as well last week. Just so you know, OTA workouts begin on Monday. So that happens really all the way up until mandatory mini camps. So that it's OTAs in spurts. So it's like a 3 days here, a day there, 5-day break, a day here. There's all of that. Then there's mandatory mini camps will happen in June. And then there's more OTAs throughout June. But the rookie mini camps happened. What I found quite interesting is, I know obviously Mike McCarthy was away because he was having back surgery. They still did some work, but the emphasis was more on, more like, rather than this is life in the NFL, smack to the face, was more of a gentle, gradual increase. And one of the comments that was made by the coaches was that they've been through the ringer in the draft process, pre-draft process, with combines and workouts and on-field workouts, private workouts, 30 visits. And they were just like, look, that's a lot to take on. So we want to ease back on them a little bit. One day, Ultra. One day we will. Don't you worry. But it is a plan. It's something in the works. Put it that way. But there is like this whole idea that preparing for the draft, like driving a car, right, Lorne?
Yep.
When you do your driving test, you don't learn to drive. You learn to pass a test. Once you pass your test, that's when you learn how to drive. That's the feeling I've got in the pre-draft process for rookie mini camp.
Yeah, and I think that's why they've changed it. I mean, obviously, Jason Garrett, you were running them into the ground. You saw Des Bryant thrown up into the buckets and half the rookies passing out because of the 96-degree heat in the middle of May and what have you. I think this is, ease them into it so that, you're not suddenly having them pulling hamstrings and then they're delayed in their response. They can get as many reps as possible in the OTAs with the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's worked out for us in that you've had contributions throughout the regular season from all of the draft picks. and from that point of view, you're not having to. You're bringing them on, but you're bringing them on with the main part of the team, and you've given them that experience of how to prepare and do, the understanding that they've got to do their own work this time. Obviously, they've all graduated now. This is their full-time job, and they've got to put all the hours that they can in themselves, and put the study in that side of things as well. So
yeah.
Yeah,
it seemed to be like a lot of like the intellectual side of it all, rather than athleticism. It seems to be that they've drafted a lot of high athlete guys, so now it's more of a case of let's get into your mind how things work. That's what it seems to be.
Yeah.
Like the driving test analogy. They've got where the pedals are, where the handle is, where the gear stick and the handbrake is. Right, now let's learn how to do a turn in the road.
And I think the other thing as well, you often hear talked of as well, is that obviously these guys have finished their college season. For most of them, they've finished their college season middle of November, December.
Yeah.
If they've got a bowl game, they're great. They've got bowl games. If not, they go straight off to work out with whoever their agent puts them in touch with.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they change their body, because obviously the key part for that, they've put all the tape out there. The next thing is getting ready for the underwear Olympics, or the combine, as you call it. And then their pro days, which is all about speed and, short shuttle and all that sort of stuff, all the actual testing there. And then their body, they've got to then be able to build up again to being able to play football. So they've changed their bodies for the sort of testing side of things, and then they've got to actually get back up to speed and get up to strength, so that they're able to actually go through the on-field activities.
Yeah. I mean, what do you make of it all, Paul? I could see you nodding away there. Have you got any input on it?
No, I was getting distracted by my dog, who is trying to steal this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's all the important stuff, mate.
Yeah, sorry. So I wasn't even concentrating the question because Arnie was distracting me. Sorry.
Just talking of rookie mini camps and saying how they've taken it easy on them for this rookie mini camp.
Yeah, you don't want to break them in half going into training camp. You don't want to make it a pure culture shock for them. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. The work, blood, sweat, and tears that they did to get them ready for the combine and get them ready for the Senior Bowl and all that type of stuff is just a taster as well.
Yeah,
this is just a little bit more than that.
Yep.
It's a hell of a grudge when you think of the whole thing that they go through, that they play a season of college football and then they're straight into preparing for the combine. Then it's the combine, then it's workouts, then it's pro days, then it's things like Dallas days, private visits. It's a hell of a slog. And then you think they've got to go to rookie mini camp, then it's OTAs, then it's training camp. And then before you know it's preseason games and you're into the season. They get no break as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, all this stops middle of June, I think it is. They get a month off.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
I mean, half the rookies, if they know what's good for them, should still be hanging around the star and still putting the workouts in, because obviously, again, they're on the back foot compared to some of these veterans that have been doing all the workouts since the middle of April and all that sort of stuff. So they need to hit the ground running, but get that little bit of recharge, so that again, 25th of July or whenever it is that training camp reports, everybody's there and ready to hit the ground running as quickly as possible, and get studying the playbook as well. So
I think, where did I put it? I've got it here somewhere. Pre-camp. So get ready on the 27th of July.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. But exact dates are still to be confirmed. So don't go booking stuff off what I say. I'm an idiot. I only go off things that I hear. So yes, but that is our little preseason show. Next week, we begin my favorite bit of the off-season programming. I do love these shows. These are my favorite shows. It is the positional breakdown series. So that starts next Thursday. Where we start on quarterback. The running back one's going to be super interesting because we have to add fullback to it this year. So makes the whole thing really interesting on how that's going to go. Me and Brandon, Laurie, funnily enough, were talking the other week about I see 8, right? This sounds crazy. 8 players on the 53 that count for running back and tight end.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously we've put resources into it, and there's a lot of flexibility. You know, obviously these guys, if you want to use your 3 tight ends, you can put one in as an H back or something like that. You've got that potential as well with Lupke. It's as you say. I mean, there's multiple guys there, and if you're saying 8, then that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, but what do you think about it? And like these guys need to play special teams as well. Good news is some of these guys can do it. So it's gonna be a very crazy way to look at this roster when we start breaking it down. But that's gonna start next week. We'll start on quarterback, nice and easy, break everyone in nice and gentle. Looking at the cap, stats, projections, the whole shindig, and then we'll break it all down. That's going to start from next Thursday. They are my favorite shows. I really enjoy doing them. But let's begin wrapping this up. So hit me with it, Paul, since you've been away for a while.
Yeah, so guys, as you know, we are partnered with Cowboys Experience, where they give you the ultimate meet and greet, stadium tours, game tickets, tailgate experiences, and much more.
That's right. And Mr. Launius Maximus.
Right, okay, and this is our Ring of Honor, as we like to call it. So check out these other podcasts from our friends and fellow content creators. Obviously, you got the Cowboys with Talking Cowboys, Hanging with the Boys, The Break, Make Shots, etc. You've got SB Nation, all the shows there. Tom Ryle, Riled Up, The World's Team, Girls Talking Boys, Pick Six Sports, Cowboys Fans, Cowboy Can Fan, Skywalker Steel, Jeff Reinbold Show, although Jeff's obviously got a new position now, so that'll be on the back burner for a bit. Law Nation, Big Game James. Obviously check these guys out.
That's right.
Yeah, just to mention as well, our friends from Canada, particularly, I think it's Adam actually. He's touring Japan right now on holiday. Spreading the word, the World's Team boys.
And there'll be some more information on this travel package coming up over the weekend. So keep an eye on our social media and make sure you book those plane tickets while the price is right. But if you do book plane tickets, make sure you book the right one.
This is actually just don't do what I just did there. And obviously now it's after 10 o'clock. I can't get in contact with BA to change my flight, so I need to wait till tomorrow. Great, but just to mention as well, Ultra Cowboy just mentioned this. Try and get Mike Tagg on the show.
Yeah. I was speaking to Tagg actually last week.
Yeah. Honestly, he just does the best intros.
Yeah, a lot of energy.
It's so much energy, so much hype. I freaking love Mike, man. He's such a cool guy. Love to have him on the show.
I'll try and message him again now over the weekend and see what's going on, because we need all the help we can get with the position breakdown series, because there are the guests we find always know more than us, but that's how it should be.
It should be.
But we will be back, as I say, next Thursday. Make sure you tune in then. And as I say every weekend, have a nice weekend. Stay safe. As always, guys, thank you for joining in. Thank you for all the comments and quotes. You guys are the best. We love the Yukis. They are the MVPs of the show. But last say, and we'll take it away.
Well, you were just kind of halfway muted there. I don't know why you were talking there, mate. But yeah, as usual, Dallas forever, Philly for never. And we'll see you next week.
Yep. See you next week, guys. Have a great weekend.